My name is Marianne Kendrick. I'm 43 years old. I was born September the 24th, 1974 in Lufkin, Texas. I never had any siblings at any time. I had a good life. I had strict parents. When I was probably 5 or 6, I had a dog named Norman, a dog named Josh, and many hamsters, but the only one I can remember was Esmeralda. I know that Josh was a big Labrador Retriever, and every winter, if I wore toboggans or a toboggan and mittens, he would run and he'd get them off my head, and and hands him, we'd have to chase him down. And one year we couldn't find him. We didn't know what he did with them. And then that spring, my parents were digging a garden, and they dug up my hat and my mittens that Josh had buried. I played soccer for a couple of years. I played softball for 11 years, and I danced for 11 years. Mimi and Poppy that's my mom and dad, had a rule that if I wanted to go to a party, if I told them, where it was, or a lot of times there would be maps because we lived in the country, so you'd have to figure out how to get there, so people would make maps. And I would just ask their permission, and they would say yes or no, depending on their gut feeling or whatever. And so I went to this party. I did have permission to go to that party. It was at the lake. The lake was about 30 minutes out of town, and one thing leads to another. Anyway, my ride that I came to the lake with left, thinking that I had already left. So I had to get another ride back to Lufkin, and subsequently that was a good while after my curfew and my friend Shelley's curfew. Mm-hmm. So when I finally pulled back in, I want to say 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, sometime in there, well past when I was supposed to be home, as we turned down the street, I could see my dad's truck sitting in the driveway at my friend's house, and I thought, oh, I'm dead. So I got out, and I looked at my dad, and I said, I'm going to go get my stuff. And he looked at me, and he said, girl, you're not going to need anything. Get in the truck. We got home, and, Mimi's likes to talk and lecture and lecture and lecture. Mm-hmm. So she talked for several hours. They would not let me go back. They would not let me go to sleep. Had to stay up and do chores all day long, and wasn't allowed to go to sleep till later that night.
How did you meet Dad?
Well, for the sake of not embarrassing your grandparents, meaning grandmother and papa, not Mimi and Poppy, I've always told y'all that it was at a large gathering, which is technically true. No. Now, the history here is that I knew who your dad was long before that night.
Because you were friends with Gina.
Gina and I, your dad's younger sister, had been friends since we were 11, 12, 13 years old. Mm-hmm. Your dad being 9 years older, when we would spend the night over there, he had already moved out of the house. So there was no crossing paths. There's nothing illicit about this. And so, to this day, there's a picture hanging in the hallway outside of Gina's room, which you know of. Your dad has on the white sports coat, and here was his church directory picture. Yeah. And when we were all in high school, we would all walk by that picture, and we'd touch it when we would leave, and we'd say, your brother's so fine, which is hilarious. So one night after I had the same boyfriend through high school and college, and we broke up, and one night I went out with my girlfriends to a country and western club, which there is nothing wrong with that. And I ran into your dad.
It's kind of like Grey's Anatomy, how Meredith Grey ran into Derek.
Maybe, I don't know, but ran into Dad. And he did not know me from Gina. And I knew who he was just because, look at them. You can tell they're all from the same family. Yeah. And I'm going to be extremely frank with you. After that night, I don't think we have spent more than a week away from each other since. And that was 1997. He was handsome, and he made me feel pretty, and your dad was very active. He's a very social person. He likes people, so it worked for us, and we clicked.
So when you met Dad, he had Chelsea, his
sister.
She was 6.
His daughter when I met her. Mm-hmm. And I knew about Chelsea well before then, because when we were seniors in high school is when your daddy found out about Chelsea. Your dad dated Chelsea's mom for, I don't know, a little under a year, and things did not work out, and she moved on. And then they ran into each other, and for the weekend, we'll just tactfully put it like that. And then they parted ways. He heard that she got married, and she did, and she had a little girl, and life went on, and he was engaged. And one day she walked up to him and said, "I just thought I would let you know you have a beautiful little baby girl." Well, Dad, being the gentleman that he is, he immediately began to pay child support. I remember it was our senior year, and when I saw Chelsea, I guess she was almost 2. When we all saw Chelsea, we knew, like, seriously, that is definitely a Kendrick. She looked just exactly like Gina. So that's how your dad got to find out about Chelsea.
And you basically raised Chelsea, because her mom was like...
Well, her mother is a wonderful person. She had a bumpy spot in the road, and so I took Chelsea and I raised her till she was 13 or 14, and then she went back to live with her mom.
You raised her in Missouri, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we're done now.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.